Caution, this article contains graphic violence. This time the sweltering cloak of night enveloped the canyon, a deafening silence providing a dichotomous calm before the storm that I had vowed to alter. Arseid, so as to not provide a reminder to me, were I to fail. The cloud-veiled half-moon cast an incredulous glance, as if watching with only one eye, skeptical as to whether I would succeed. Of heat and humidity invited a myriad of invertebrates to provide an additional taunt to my concentration. The fact that my heart was trying to burst from my ribcage was not enough of a distraction. All had to be rendered irrelevant. There was no turning back now. The white rambler passed by, just as it had 31 years ago. Inside sat the sacrificial lamb. This part, regrettably, could not change. I loathed that rule. When Deedon deserved to die, it was him. Tronics buff with a brilliant mind, he was working 2 jobs to pay for college. But there was no choice. The will had landed on his number, either way. It was simply the way it was. Came the Emily car, right on schedule, and from it slithered the several leeches. Approached their prey, oblivious to the present scent to tip the scales. The chief maggot drew his revolver. Maybe, if I shoot quickly, he'll only get 1 shot, and the poor fellow might live. The staccato of my AK-47 crackled the backbeat to their song of death. The gunman fell, and his fellow vermin aborted their mission and turned tail. Not so fast, you forgot something. Of the got a lethal dose of vitamin justice as well, all except one. Plans for her. The rifle on the survivor while her fellow human lice acknowledged receipt of the ultimate lesson taught, but never learned. After they gasped and gurgled their last, I calmly asked her, "Will you please deliver a message for me?" Trembling, ashen face nodded, but dared not breathe. Continued, "Please tell your boss that, if DOES and crawl back under the big rock from which he came, he will suffer the same fate as your friends here. However, his won't be so quick and merciful. Promise to tell him that for me, you may leave now, Linda." Heard her acceptance from the haste of her departure. Didn't even seem to care how I knew her name. After all, we never met. I knew he WOULDN, how I wish the cretin would have been here. First liquefied his knees, to immobilize him while I implemented his torturous checkout, about which I fantasized 1,000 times. Had he tried any of the numerous facial expressions which had curried him favor, and then infamy, his nefarious eyeballs would have become my hors d'oeuvres. The excision of his trachea with my bare hands would have been a just finale. He had stolen something from me decades ago, and I had paid dearly for the opportunity to tell him, at this time. I would have to settle for it happening through an intermediary. Toward the house, stopping first at the Rambler. The 1-shot ICOULDN stop had finished him. I hated that rule. Front porch stood the 4 near victims, swaddled in the unmistakable aroma reminiscent of a Colombian forest fire. Their red, slitted eyes were riveted on me. None of the justice served, but COULDN missed its aftermath. In their current state of consciousness, maybe they could. While their lifestyle was one I would never understand, much less ever wish to experience, judging them would be a waste of mental energy. A hairstylist, an heiress, and a ne'er-do-well whose mooching kept him from calling a cardboard box home, mattered little to me. The B-grade actress was another story, but not just for her own sake. While they would never be in my coterie of friends, they certainly did not deserve the original fate concocted for them. Fully, that had been thwarted. Then retreat into the house when they saw me approach, instead opting to show me their skill at emulating statues. I would like to think they realized I would not prevent their deaths, only to later cause them myself. They thought it was all a dream. Likely, their diversionary chemicals of choice were the reason. Perhaps key synapses were not firing, with a brain saying "you idiot." Answering, "Oh, I can feel my toes." Stuff. Fortunately, I may have simply postponed the inevitable, substituting different victims on both sides of the equation. Inane runaway teenagers and Pollyannas who don't believe in deadbolts or guns in the house were plentiful, especially here. These of modern chemistry would ensure the production of more such zombies. It would just be someone else who got it in the neck. Victims would probably be less famous in life, resulting in little to no publicity covering their snuffing, all because our society, for some strange reason, refuses to take serious action against creatures who might as well have been born to jackals until innocent people suffer a heinous demise at one of these sorry wastes of protoplasm. I figured I should say something. Okay, lay ye all history, except for the one I sent back to tell the rest to leave you alone. You won't be bothered anymore by that gaggle of human effluent. Back inside and forget you ever saw me. Before those sirens you hear transmogrify into blue automatons with harebrained questions. Turn to leave, the pretty, pregnant blonde managed to force out a weak, "Hank you welcome, Sharon Tate."